Hello there, good evening to you from wherever you are joining us from. We are very glad to have your company tonight on Rwanda Television News, and we do hope you had yourselves a great and productive day. And now, as we begin our edition tonight, let us inform you that on Wednesday, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, who is also the Commander-in-Chief of the Rwanda Defense Force RDF, chaired the High Command Council attended by active and retired RDF senior officers from the Rwanda National Police, RNP, the National Intelligence and Security Service, NISS, the Rwanda Investigation Bureau, RIB, and the Rwanda Correctional Services, RCS. And moving ahead, the government of Rwanda has challenged the United Kingdom's Supreme Court decision on the Rwanda-UK Migration and Economic Development Partnership. Via her formerly Twitter handle, Rwanda government spokesperson Yolande Makolo refuted claims that Rwanda is not a safe third country for asylum seekers and refugees.
On today's ruling regarding our Migration and Economic Development Partnership, this is ultimately a decision for the UK's judicial system. However, we take issue with the ruling that Rwanda is not a safe third country for asylum seekers and refugees in terms of refoulement.
Rwanda further re-expressed the commitment to contribute to a possible efforts in addressing and finding solutions to immigration crisis worldwide.
Rwanda and the UK have been working together to ensure integration of relocated asylum seekers into Rwandan society. Rwanda is committed to its international obligations. We have been recognized by the UNHCR and other international institutions for exemplary treatment of refugees. Throughout this legal process, we've been busy delivering progress for Rwandans and working with international partners to solve some of the biggest challenges that Africa and the wider world face. We take our humanitarian responsibilities seriously and will continue to live up to them.
According to the United Nations, more than 2,500 migrants died or went missing this year while trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea to get to Europe. The UK-Rwanda partnership was referred to by Rwanda as a bold and new partnership which takes an innovative approach to addressing the global migration crisis that involves incentives structures which empower criminal gangs and endanger innocent lives. And follow up on this, the government of Rwanda released a statement on the decision by the UK court on the Rwanda-UK Migration and Economic Development Partnership. And the statement reads, while this was ultimately a decision for UK's judicial system, we take this issue with the ruling that Rwanda is not a safe country for asylum seekers and refugees. Given Rwanda's welcoming policy and our record of caring for refugees, the political judgment made today were unjustified. The examples raised in court to support the ruling were insensitive to violations of international humanitarian law ongoing in many parts of the world. The court relied on extreme and speculative concerns based on hypocritical criticism of the UNHCR, which has on numerous occasions expressed its appreciation of Rwanda's inclusive refugee policies, qualifying them as exemplary. For example, the claim of 100% rejection rate of asylum seekers from some parts of the world is dishonest. A total of 2 individuals from Syria, Yemen, were indeed not considered for asylum because there was a faster and more appropriate path to legal residence, and these individuals are currently living and working in Rwanda. Also, an earlier agreement with Israel to receive migrants was ended by Rwanda after it was deemed unworkable. Rwanda will now focus on working with UK on a binding treaty to re-emphasize existing guarantees required by the partnership to succeed, reads the statement. And moving ahead, still on this particular matter, the United Kingdom has been working on a new migration treaty with Rwanda and will finalize it in the light of its Supreme Court's decision to declare the 2022 Migration and Economic Partnership as unlawful. The development regarding working on a new migration treaty with Rwanda was revealed by UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak on Wednesday, November 15.
The Supreme Court has judged that the Rwanda policy requires a set of changes in order to be lawful. I do not agree with this decision, but I respect it and accept it. The rule of law is fundamental to our democracy. We have prepared for all outcomes of this case, and so we have been working on a new international treaty with Rwanda. This will provide a guarantee in law that those who are relocated from the UK to Rwanda will be protected against removal from Rwanda, and it will make clear that we will bring back anyone if ordered to do so by a court. We will finalise the treaty in light of today's judgment and ratify it without delay. But we need to end the merry-go-round. I said I was going to fundamentally change our country, and I meant it. So I'm also announcing today that we will take the extraordinary step of introducing emergency legislation. This will enable Parliament to confirm that with our new treaty, Rwanda is safe. It will ensure that people cannot further delay flights by bringing systemic challenges in our domestic courts and stop our policy being repeatedly blocked. But of course, we must be honest about the fact that even once Parliament has changed the law here at home, we could still face challenges from the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg. I told Parliament earlier today that I'm prepared to change our laws and revisit those international relationships to remove the obstacles in our way. So let me tell everybody now, I will not allow a foreign court to block these flights. If the Strasbourg court chooses to intervene against the expressed wishes of Parliament, I am prepared to do what is necessary to get flights off. I will not take the easy way out, because I fundamentally do not believe that anyone thinks the founding aims of the European Convention on Human Rights was to stop a sovereign parliament removing illegal migrants to a country deemed to be safe in parliamentary statute and binding international law.
And moving ahead to other matters, the plenary session of the Chamber of Deputies requested the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources to provide within 3 months the measures taken to deal with issues in the country's irrigation programs, including the fact that there are more than 18,000 hectares that are still irrigated at as low as 29% rate. We do have the details. During the Parliamentary Committee on Land, Agriculture, Livestock and Environment's in-depth analysis on the Auditor General's report on irrigation activities between July 2018 and December 2022, it was revealed that there was inefficiencies and poor management in the irrigation system. An example is the more than 18,000 hectares that are still irrigated at as low as 29% rate and other mismanagement issues.
Kuri Minisiteri y'Ubuhinzi n'Ubworozi Minagri,
the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources presenting to the deputies the measures they presented to address the issues in the planning, implementation and follow-up on irrigation programs, including inadequate studies, a huge difference between irrigated land and what is presented in the RAB data, idle infrastructures, as well as those that have been destroyed and not repaired, idle land and dormant irrigation equipment, delayed projects and inappropriate implementation of contracts, all to help residents become food secure. All this should be done in not more than 3 months. MPs expressed the need to summon agriculture institutions to provide explanation on these issues. I want to understand, in the Ministry of Agriculture and RAB, what do they make of the issue? Because the issue is mismanaging public funds. I think there is an issue of arrogance and forgery. The committee noted that there is no need to summon the Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources following the willingness by the institution and affiliated authorities to address the issue. Among other issues highlighted include the idle floriculture and horticulture storage facilities in Nyanza, Ngoma and Gwamagana districts. The plenary session of the Chamber of Deputies was also presented with a report of the Social Affairs Committee on the issue of workers in the forestry sector who have been working on a fixed-term contract for 10 years, and the fact that some of those workers are paid 67,000 Rwandan francs only, despite the fact that there are some districts that pay more than 150,000 Rwandan francs per month. 230 out of 416 sectors countrywide have forestry workers, and other sectors do not because workers leave their job for better offers. On the second day of the Commonwealth Local Government Forum, a conference happening here in Kigali, local government officials from Commonwealth member states found that one of the things that African continent should prioritize in its development programs is to emphasize citizen-centered government as a key pillar. Adam Squizera has the details.
Some of the issues raised by the participants on the second day of the Commonwealth Local Government Forum happening in Kigali, they pointed out on the gaps that are found in the service delivery at the local level in some of the African countries. George Elang Obam, the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development in Cameroon, finds that what the continent needs is decentralization.
One of the solutions, I may not say it is the solution, but one of the solutions is to bring back the power to the population. And when you are saying that, you are talking of decentralization, meaning that the state should accept to leave some of its powers to the local communities.
The mayor of the city of Kigali, Prudence Rwingisa, pointed out that one of the main pillars in the development of the government programs that are built on the citizen is technology.
Allowing actually the citizens to use efficiently not only the resources, the time, saving time and money, by Ilembo, which is a national portal that is allowing us to offer more than 100 services online. So the post-COVID, post-pandemic has demonstrated that our municipalities, to be able to offer services to our people, we need to migrate to digital services. And this has really demonstrated that as a municipality, not only having infrastructure, the housing, but also services that can allow people to quickly and efficiently use the existing resources.
The Prime Minister Dr. Edward Ngirente yesterday at the official opening of this 4-day conference of Commonwealth Local Government Forum, he demonstrated on how programs related to decentralization, transparency and prioritizing the citizen needs have played a significant role in the development of the country.
Our strategic priorities have been on citizen-centered governance, quality service delivery, and enforcing the principles of inclusiveness, transparency, and accountability. Promoting homegrown solutions as well as sectoral decentralization have been the drivers in building strong local government entities that contribute to national development.
The 2023 Rwanda Governance Scorecard demonstrated that the pillar of the governance in which the citizens are involved and included in the programs was at 84.4%. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
Still on this, in an exclusive interview with RBA, the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development in Cameroon, George Elang Obam, pointed out that in order to respond effectively to various shocks and maintain resilience, will rely on strengthening governance and decentralization, citing that two key enablers of socioeconomic transformation. We do have more on this interview with Adam Squizera. Still,
I think it is important to say that we are facing a lot of problems in our countries, and one of the most important is local development. States have been trying to develop, but the results are not every time the same. And the solution, one of the solutions, I may not say it is the solution, but one of the solutions is to bring back the power to the population. And when you are saying that, you are talking of decentralization, meaning that the state should accept to leave some of its powers to the local communities, to the local authorities. And what I've been hearing since I'm here in Kigali is that it is a point of view that is shared by a lot of people. So I think we are confronted to a lot of problems. We were talking of COVID-19, we are talking of climate changes, and one of the solutions to be resilient is to let the people say how they feel they can do to face by themselves those problems. And this is what we are discussing about. I think I may say that the way we are organized in Cameroon when we are talking of decentralization is that we do have two levels of decentralization. We have the regions and we have the councils. The councils are to deal with daily problems and making sure that if you want to have education, if you want to have health, if you have to own infrastructures that are common to council, we talk to the councils. Now, when we are talking of economic development, the regions are more involved. So it was important to say that there are two levels. Now, how do we proceed? We are transferring powers to those two levels, and of course, we are giving the means that are going with it. Meaning that if the state has decided to transfer one competence to the region or to the council, all the means that were used by the states are given to those two levels. And of course, you have the assistance of the state, and you have a lot of other institutions that are accompanying the local authorities to make sure that effectively they are working with the competence that have been transferred to them. I think, as I told you, if you consider that there is an approach that is concerning development that the state was dealing with and it has been transferred, you may say that it is up to the local authorities to execute what the state was doing. If you are talking of education, for example, we may say that concerning the local authorities, the councils are in charge of primary education. If you are talking of the region, they are in charge of secondary education. So when you are talking of sustainable development, all the competencies dealing with that development are given by the state to local authorities. Of course, you should consider that all the powers are not transferred to local authorities. The state is keeping what we may call sovereignty, external relations, defense, security, and things like that. But at the end of the day, I think it is good to continue pushing to have the local authority exercising more and more competencies. I think when people are gathered the way we are here, we are sharing experiences. We are talking, we are doing a kind of benchmarking, we are visiting places where people are working, and it is pushing, it is giving more intelligence, it is giving more means also. So I think it is good to have places and times where you can sit and have a kind of thinking about how to better do things. And one of the way I consider is that we should have a kind of ideological approach concerning decentralization. I think these are things we are discussing about here.
This was the Minister of Decentralization and Local Government in Cameroon who reiterated much on how local governments should work on this continent, particularly in the favor of the residents. I'm Adam Squizera, RTV News.
The Pan-African Movement Rwanda urges women to benefit from opportunities presented by the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement signed in 2018. This was said as the Commission of Women and Gender in this movement gathered on Wednesday. The Pan-African Movement Rwanda members are convened for discussions aimed at exploring and explaining to entrepreneurs, mainly women, on opportunities available in the African continent Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. The movement chairperson, Prote Musoni, explains why, stressing on women engagement and their role in curbing challenges that are still hindering the implementation of this landmark initiative.
On the vision of Pan-African movement and the AU now, which is implementing the Pan-African ideology and programs, and to create the awareness that is mass-oriented, not only a few educated, rich people, but everybody in Rwanda to understand it, own it, and see the good that is in it, and want to participate in the change that has to happen. And we are also linking with the communities who are foreign communities in Rwanda. You will see some Indians, you will see some Nigerians, and so that they can also understand and participate in the movement in Rwanda, but can be able to also do the same in their countries or when they are connecting with their friends. We also have some women who have come from abroad. I think there were supposed to be 6, but 3 have come from France, from Gabon and Cameroon. So again, to see the spirit that the women can also understand and participate in the continental agenda as the AU demands. The result is that we are going to get, when you create awareness and people understand and appreciate, then there are things they will participate and do it, or they can demand from their politicians to move forward quickly. Barriers are many. There are some which are tax-oriented, which require the parliaments of other countries to remove them. There are the systemic issues of exchange, especially on payments and so on. There's infrastructure. Infrastructure possibly is the biggest problem, that even you get, suppose you don't have money for an airplane and you want to go to Gabon. When will you get there? There are no roads that will lead you there. And yes, it is the road and the trains are the ones that are used by a big number of population. Now, so, while we are working on awareness, NEPAD, for example, is working on the infrastructure bit and so on. Then there's language. The language also is not easy. Yes, it's some ease of doing business. So part of the thing I was saying that some is around the taxes, others are now what you say non-tariff barriers. Yeah? How you move, the movement of people, the movement of money, the movement of and so on, corruption, that kind of thing. So those ones must be politically removed from the heads and the citizens. Yeah? So those non-tariffs, they are still there. They are still there. When I'll give you an example. The other day, I was going to Uganda, and the moment I landed, they said, how many dollars do you have? I said, I don't need it, because now I can go to Beka with my card and they give me shillings, so I don't need the dollar. But you can see even the customers, people are still old-fashioned because they don't have that awareness.
And women following these discussions have pledged to play the important role in boosting trade on the African continent. Currently, trade between African countries is still at as low as a 12% rate. With the AfCFTA, entrepreneurs benefit from a market targeting 1 billion and 300 million people all over the continent. And viewers, report sums up our tonight's edition, and that's all from us here at RBS Rwanda Television News. On behalf of the entire news production as well as the technical team, many thanks for being with us, and up until next time, stay safe and have a great evening.